Alright then, we're gonna try a few little things different today. Y'all probably see I got a window there, opened her up, little natural light, and I don't know how that's gonna turn out, 'cause it got some shadows and what have you, but ain't nothing like the sun to brighten up your day, right? Anyway, I called it at the time a unstacking video on some gold. I didn't even know that's a thing. I had a stack of gold there, and I heard them full stack videos, but I didn't want to do like that. I just said it's an unstacking video. Well, didn't know at the time, but I guess that's a thing to do. So, stack that gold. He normally stacking that gold, but he did a little unstacking video. And he said he kind of got in it, a little challenge with at AG Addict, I believe that's it, or it might be AGAU. Can't get them straight, whether he got the gold or the silver first. Honestly, I can't keep them straight which one is the gold and silver. All I know it's an A. So anyway, sorry if I mess up the name. I just found him from that video that Stack That Gold did. And I need to catch up on his videos, but I like his method. Seems like he's a smart feller. Anyway, he did a little unstacking video. So, like I said, I did it with the gold. So I generally been doing more gold, but when silver dropped down, I picked up a few little things. And look out next week. I got something special, hopefully. But here's what I got right now. Little bit of silver. And I don't know, this is how it works. Look, I ain't trying to do no pyramid here, so I'm gonna call it a Christmas tree again. I got my silver Christmas tree, even though it's early in the year. Christmas in July, and I'm a little bit earlier than that. Maybe that's an Easter Christmas tree, all right? Y'all don't take nothing about that. That just seemed to be the easy way to do. You got a wide base and you want to stack it up. Just kind of wind up like that. So, anyway, we gonna try it and got the little rounds here. I don't know how this is gonna work out. We just gonna see how it goes. So, up top, got this little 1 ouncer. Let me flip her over. It's a kind of neat little thing, because I picked this at the coin shop I go to, one of them. And he got a little mark on it. He had it minted, or poured, I guess you'd say, for him. Kind of limited. He said the first 2 or 3 couple fellers were bidding and fighting over them. So, I think he said he only did like 5 of them, or maybe 10. That isn't here, number 4. And originally he charging $50 for that ounce. But he cut me a deal, so he said. And y'all might say, well, you still overpaid it. Silver was about 30 at that time, maybe a few cents over 30. That's kind of the beginning of that dip last week before last. I'm losing track here. Anyway, but I picked her up. He called it a little bread loaf. So I thought it's a cute little thing. I got that we put that at the stem of our tree, right? At the base. Let's see. I'd picked this one up before when I had bought a few things, and I just bought this one more or less to round out my order. Make it where it didn't have to give me little bills, he kind of just rounded out to make it even. And this in here, I'm still curious about this. And he said it from a place in Colorado. And I asked him, well, why it had Nevada? And he said, well, they did coin shows there in Nevada. And he said it's a prospector thing I come up with. I think he's talking about that prospector's gold and gem. They use a mark kind of like that, shovel and pick. But I ain't found one specifically that said Nevada. So anyway, it's a little bit, something a little curious about it, but it's a cute little 1 ounce. I kind of like the size of it. I said it reminded me of dentine gum. You ever seen a stick of dentine or something about that size? I got that in there. Let's see, we gonna figure it out as we go along. And then I went back. That's actually second time back. I was gonna buy more of these here, but all he had was the 2 ounce. He done sold the 1 ounces. I like the little swirlies on that. I don't know what you call them, and as far as really the way you call them, but I'm gonna call them little swirlies. He said they did that. He asked them about it. They did that by shaking the table. And I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But make a nice little pattern, especially this in here. This in here kind of looked like you smudged it. Kind of makes that 999 a little hard to read at times, but this in here really turned out good. I guess that's a unique thing about that hand poured. Kind of unique. So we got them too. So we got a little collection of these Nevada silver from Colorado. Kind of confusing there. Let's see where we gonna go. We gotta be careful here because y'all see my ugly face in this here shiny silver. And I told a feller, I done told him a few times, people said I sound like old Billy Bob. I ain't Billy Bob. I told him, I said I got a voice for the silent movies and a face for the radio. So we keep my face off here. You gotta hear my ugly voice anyhow, that's enough. But this here, at the Northern Territory Mint, and I appreciate, again, Stack That Gold. He gave me a little info on it. He said they out of business now, and I started looking them up, and sure enough, they out of business. I guess they a little problem on their business practices, but silver's silver, so I ain't gonna let that affect me. Plus, it kind of neat. It's something you can't get now. And this in here kind of neat. Got a little message on the back. If you want to read it, you can pause her and read it right there. But that's kind of neat. That's the thing about secondary market. Or I know the wife, she liked to do that resale, and she called it pre-love. I reckon it's here the pre-love bar. That pre-love silver. You like your pre-love silver? Get a little good deal on her. Anyway, we got that in there. I kind of like the way they did that 5. That's a pretty cool design. And then we got another little 5 ouncer. And you see that in there is also the Northern Territory Mint. Of course, they mint it for it Pan American Silver Corp. Little 5 ouncer. Little pick there. Nice little deal. Good thing here, I didn't pay too much premium. At 32, like I said, silver about 30 at the time, maybe somewhere around there. We got a little 2 5 ounces. let's get a little bit chunkier, 10 ounce at a time. It's here again, Northern Territory mint. That's the first Northern Territory I bought from the feller sold me this here stuff. And he said he thought it pretty neat. It's from back in the 80s. And he thought it'd be a nice and he liked that wealth without fear. I think that's a pretty cool slogan there. I don't know what it really getting at, but kind of make you think. Maybe you're afraid of losing your wealth, or what you afraid about. Well, these days you're probably afraid the dollar's gonna go to zero or something. So maybe that's the point there, that silver maybe it'd hold a little bit better value at international market securities. Anyway, that's pretty neat little one. Silver sure is shiny. I reckon that's why we like it, part of it. Let's see how we change them around. Something like that. Then this in here, everybody talk about that Engelhard, so I figured I'd get me one. This ain't really the lowest mintage. So I don't know how big a collector's item it is. I paid about $35 an ounce. Again, about $5 over spot, maybe $4, something like that. So I don't know. I probably overpaid. Like I said before, he kind of high premium on his. But I wanted me one of them there Engelhard. What they said, vintage. I need to learn a bit more. Old Dub C, he real good on that stuff, but seem he real good about getting it close to spot, maybe just a couple dollars. He said he's cheap. I think he's smart, probably a lot smarter than I am, a lot more patient. But you get to watching these fellers and you want to kind of participate. So that there's the silver bars. I don't know what shape we wound up with here. Kind of like one of them candle thingies. And I reckon that's a good image for here around Passover. I ain't an expert, but I know that's something to do with Jewish holidays. They do it. I think they got 7 candles. So we got our little candles, and don't be offended if I said that wrong. I ain't Jewish, but I respect you. So here we got these, and y'all seen I picked up, again, overpaying premium stuff when I ought to be buying just generic. But everybody talk about these Libertad. I want to see what the big deal was, so I got this here Libertad, and I like stuff with Liberty on it, so they said that's a winged Liberty. She's trying to fly away, but they got her tied down to that statue there. And of course, it's a Mexican coin. They got the little Mexican eagle. They said that's different than our eagle. Go back to the Aztec or something, eating that snake there. I said it's triumph over the evil. Got the little cactus. Y'all ever eat cactus? You can eat them things there. We call them cactus, but I guess they call them nopalea. I say nope, I ain't eating it. Get a sticker in your mouth. So I tell you, see, I got these 5, well, what I got? Yeah, one of them gold in there. I am mustard and gold, or the channel anyhow. So you gotta have a little gold. We put her right there. That gold Philharmonic, same size as these silver rounds. So I wound up left with 4. I should have bought a whole tube of these here. capsules. But I didn't know I'd gonna be buying more silver rounds, so problem is now I got a loose round here, and that's the premium one. So I'm debating which one of these gonna get kicked out of the capsule and go into the loose and put that there high pricing in there. These are all a little cheaper. Of course, these are coins. You got your maple leaf. Let's see, what year is that in? 2024. So I reckon that won't be too bad on the milk spots. They said, what was that, 2014, 2016? Got another field harmonic. I reckon I ought to leave that in there because the wife likes it. We can't have that in there getting all uglied up. We leave her there. Then she picked this one out, so I gotta leave it in there. That there's a Noah's Ark. That's Armenian. I don't know how to say them words. Y'all can read them. What? DRAM. Sound like something go in your computer. Anyway, they got the RAM there. So we gotta leave that in, I reckon. Then we got this here Britannia. Y'all might know, maybe you don't, but that's one of my favorite designs. In gold especially, but it's nice in silver too. That there Britannia. Much care for that feller. Well, I don't care. I don't know him, so he might be all right feller, but seemed a little odd to me. We need to kind of straighten this up. Let's see, even her out. I told y'all I ain't OCD or nothing like that. I just figure it's better to be symmetrical, as they said. So we'll try to make it straight. We'll flip her over, get the Canadian maple leaf, get that there Britannia. Looky there, she coming together all right. Kind of making a square out of this in here. I reckon that'll be better than the one of them there triangles. I call it a triangle. Others called it a pyramid. I called her a triangle. And there you have, there's a unstacked, partially stacked. I guess we ought to totally unstack it, right? What are we gonna do? Something like that. Put that there. That gold one it's out of place, but I do like that. Flip her over. That's a pretty coin, and that's a little something coming about this here. Y'all might know, but y'all be looking next week. I'll show y'all another little different, but something to do with this, something to do with some silver. I'm pretty excited. We'll put that there. Let her stand up on the, let's see, maybe she'll stand up. Nope, she's gonna fall down. And I'd pull this and out the capsule, but now let's pull her out, just have a look. But I gotta keep that in the capsule. Like I said, that's a wife's favorite, pretty much. Of course, every new one I get, she said, that's my favorite. I think that's her way of getting one. She said, Mustard, that's my favorite. Can I have her? I said, all right, then. If you want it, you can have it. Of course, it's all ours, so if we need it, we just sell it. But we ain't gonna sell this. And see, here the problem is, getting in these boogers pretty hard. That's why I keep these fingernails. Of course, I ain't really. Probably I'm just lazy to cut them up. And it bugs that feller Stormy. So I ain't trying to bug him, but well, if it bugs him, it bugged him. Yep. Need me a knife. That's what I need me. That's what that 2 is 1. He got a lot of nice knives. Me, I spend the money on the gold because I tend to lose a knife. I got a few around, but like I said, at workplace they said you can't have one of them there pocket knives like they got. Yeah, it's gonna be a pain. Y'all be tired of watching that, trying to get that there out. Let's see, try another one. And I'm sorry for the long video, especially fiddling with the coin, fiddling with this here. Now why that other one didn't do that? You only want to see Charles. You want to see that maple leaf. Look at there. We're going to keep the maple leaf out and put the Libertad in there. That in there seems a little bigger. Probably is. Maybe that Libertad bigger than the maple leaf. That's the good thing about this here foam ring, though. You can kind of make her fit. Let's see. Little struggle, but we gonna get it. Yep. I don't know. It ain't fitting just right for me. We can get her out of here completely. Make her get around there. Maybe that's the way you ought to do it, I reckon. I'm still learning. That's a lot better. Gotta be, like they said, they always told me I'm doing something. They said, you gotta work smarter, not harder. I ain't never learned that lesson, though. I'm still working harder, not too smarter. But, hey, some fellers need to learn to work a little harder. They done too smart for their own good. They work themselves or smart themselves right out of a job. Because they work so smart. But they ain't working very hard at all. Anyway, what y'all think about that little unstacking? And this here's a long video. I apologize if you got bored. You probably already ain't listening to this because you clicked off. Most people click off in a minute or so. But if you got to this point, I just say thank you. And I'm curious because YouTube kind of does it weird. It don't really tell you. It give you an average. Normally average people watch about 1-2 minutes of my video. They get tired. I reckon they're tired of the voice or tired of what I'm doing. Just bored. If you're watching to this point, just say you watched it up till you got bored of me and got rid of it. Nah, anyway, I don't much matter. I do the same thing. I getting a little boring, I'll click off of them, go watch something else, come back later. I get busy or whatever. So, if you did watch up to here, I appreciate it, and do leave it in the comments. Just say I watched to the end there. That'd be kind of nice, interesting, see who got to the end. Kind of like an endurance race. Anyway, what y'all think? What y'all think? Should I do more with these natural lighting, or is them shadows bothering you? Alright then, that's a little video. Alright then, bye-bye.